Good afternoon. My name is Phanuelle Manuel, and I'm working under Dr. Michael Fedewa in the Department of Kinesiology. And today we will be examining the impact of color and contrast in digital anthropometric body composition estimates. In this presentation, I will be going over the background of the body composition lab, our current lab procedures, my role in this project, and the expectations, and then what we will be focusing on moving forward. Body composition is the measurement of your body's fat mass, lean mass, which is muscle, water, and bone, and how they are distributed. In the past, there have been gold standard evaluation methods, starting with the DEXA scan, which is the dual energy X-ray absorptiometry scan, which is a medical test that uses low-dose X-rays to measure bone mineral density and body composition, including fat and muscle mass. Next is hydrostatic weighing, which is a method used to determine body composition, specifically body fat percentage, by measuring the displacement of water when a person is fully submerged. Lastly is the bioelectrical impedance analysis. While not gold standard, is an increasingly convenient method for measuring body composition by sending a low electrical current through the body and measuring the resistance it encounters. Typically, these gold standard methods are done under perfect lab conditions, so when it comes to imaging, that includes white backgrounds, consistent lighting, etc. So this brings us to digital anthropometry, which is the use of digital tools like 3D scanners and smartphones to measure the human body. So Matoyer and his colleagues worked on the IMAGE system, which is the Intelligent Mobile Anthropometric Graphical Estimator System, which is a smartphone app that uses images to estimate body fat, fat mass, and fat-free mass. The conditions they tested were camera quality, lighting intensity, and background color. So currently in my lab, we want to see how different colored backgrounds and apparel change how the picture measures body fat accurately. We considered looking at how race has affected this as well, but as it is difficult to recruit based on this criteria, we have neglected to consider this. Instead, now we use a colorimeter, but it's to determine the skin tone of our participant and not the race. So now moving forward, our goal is just consistency across participants. So going over our lab procedures, it's broken into 3 areas: imaging, the colorimeter, and questionnaires. We start by measuring the height and weight of our participants, and then they move into our imaging. So the participant is given 3 sets of compression athletic wear in black, blue, and white. Just like in this first photo, a posterior photo is taken of them in front of a black, blue, and white background, resulting in 9 images. A 10th image is taken in minimal black clothing to evaluate the contrast between their skin tone and the white control background. The following 3 images are an example of wearing blue clothing against a blue, white, and black background. As you can see, it is difficult to see the difference when the colors are too similar. The photo is taken using box capture and saved to a folder with their participant number, and their likeness is not shared to maintain confidentiality. Next is the colorimeter. A colorimeter measures skin pigment and melanin content. The readings are taken from the inner upper arm, shoulder, hip, and mid-thigh. The colorimeter returns 3 values, L, A, and B. The L is for luminance, which essentially measures the brightness of the color. A is for the green-red scale, so if the number is more negative, it leans towards green, more positive leans towards red. The B is for the blue-yellow scale, so more negative leans towards blue, more positive leans towards yellow. Lastly is the questionnaires and surveys. The participant is given a series of questionnaires for demographics, recent physical activity, perceived functional ability, recent health, and eating and drinking habits. Next is my role in this project, which is to use MATLAB to find the contrast between the apparel and the background colors. So to explain the code, the color of the apparel is extracted from the middle area of the image. A border is set around the image and a value is taken from all 4 corners. Then it is averaged to find the mean color of the background. Both the clothing and the background colors are normalized into the red, green, and blue, or RGB scale. Then the contrast is evaluated. The contrast is evaluated using MATLAB's built-in functions, and I use arrays to convert them from one measurement to the other. The value is calculated from the normalized RGB values of clothing and background. Then vectors of the clothing and background LAB values are subtracted, and each difference is squared, and all are added together. Then the square root is taken of this number to get the final contrast. In basic terms, it's just the distance formula where the coordinates are the L, A, and B values. What we want to do is find which contrast is best for taking photos and evaluating your body composition. This code right here was run using a white background and blue clothing. In this photo, we have the output for the code I've written. It offers the L, A, and B values for the background and clothing, provides an estimate on what color it is, produces a contrast value, and lastly gives the L, A, and B values for the overall skin tone of the participant. So this allows us to give directions on the app, like please take this photo in blue clothing against a white background. What we expect from this is reliability and accuracy. We want to be able to estimate body composition using a reliable source and looking at fat and muscle distribution. So what we are working on moving forward and the app updates is we are working on new data collection where we will be specifically changing the position of our participants. The Spren app is a health and fitness application that uses your smartphone's camera to perform a body composition analysis by taking a full body photo. In this example photo, we will now be taking photos in this new pose. This will result in us revising our data collection methods to account for these new changes. So for the big picture of body composition assessment, there are some changes, but there are no changes in the clothing contrast and skin tone study. Moving forward, we are always in the recruitment process, so we also want to focus on getting 50 participants for this lab in the future. Thank you. Any questions?
Yes, so I think on slide 3, you mentioned the gold standard. Are your participants getting their body composition tested by one of the gold standard methods that you mentioned to verify their body composition?
Great question. So the Spren app, which is assessing the participants' body composition, has actually been verified and validated against these gold standard methods already. And we could choose to do this in our lab, but we would be adding far too many steps into our procedures. So typically the data collection takes around 30 minutes per participant, and currently the participants can come in and just get their body composition assessed for free, no cost to us or to them. And so by adding these extra steps, we might be asking for too much from the participants to be doing this for free. And there are other methods that we could add to our data collection, such as the DEXA scan, which is very quick, but although it is quick, it does require radiation, which requires us to get state approval. And as we've already been through IRB submission by working with people, we'd have to go through that process again to do the digital anthropometry and also do the gold standard methods.
So how did you choose these experimental color and clothing conditions?
So there is a formula for calculating the luminance, which is the L value returned by the colorimeter. And so by looking at the red, green, and blue colors and what they return, you can find the weight of a color. So blue had the least weight of the three colors, and red and green are a little more vibrant. So that's why we chose it as that kind of medium. We chose black and white because they're good control colors. And so for our skin tone test, where our participant is in minimal clothing, they're against a white background, which is our control color, and then black background also helps us to contrast the white background.
Have there been any trials planned using multicolored outfits or patterned clothing?
Currently in our study, we are not focused on multicolored clothing or patterned clothing, but it is something we could expand on in the future. In my program, I could segment the photo to just encapsulate a certain part of our participants' body so that we can average the values within that square per se. And using MATLAB, I would be able to average the different colors in a certain square to get the average luminance for that specific square, and we could expand to multicolored clothing, because when most people use this app, they're not in just plain clothing. They might have a picture or some sort of pattern on their clothing. So we are hoping to expand to that in the future.